had problems way deeper than just what meets the eye, and instead of dealing with them, I put myself in dangerous situations as I would drink and party, just anything to get my mind off of those problems. But when I came to Turnabout Ranch, they taught me that you just have to face your problems head on. And since then, I've learned, and it's way better for me. Before Turnabout Ranch, I had a really bad relationship with my whole family. Just because I didn't want to be around them, because I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, and if I was around them, I didn't want something to slip out. And that made our relationships very hard, and ended up almost ruining them. But I came to Turnabout, and since then we've mended our relationships, and I'm open and honest about everything. And there's different ways to deal with problems, and it's overall just better. The greatest benefits I've gotten from Turnabout Ranch were, first of all, meeting the staff, because they're like a second family to me now. And second, just learning that I'm worth so much more than what I thought when I first got here. My experiences at Turnabout Ranch shaped me in a way that I can deal with my problems. I don't have to do things to push them away or put them to the side. I can go to my parents, I can talk about my problems, and we can get it all figured out. I learned to actually work for things while I was at Turnabout. I learned that you're not handed things. You have to work for it. If something is going wrong in a relationship or some kind of physical work, you do have to put in the work. Just like in a job, you have to work for your money. You have to earn things. And in school, it was really helpful because it was a one-on-one, really hands-on with the teacher. And I struggled personally in school a lot back home just because there's so many students and it's hard if you get behind. But here, if you're behind, the teacher's going to help you and get you caught up on what you need to be caught up on. And I finished my junior year pretty fast, actually, and it was really helpful. In the past, I personally thought that I needed to be with someone. And when I came to Turnabout, I learned that I deserve so much more than someone that's going to emotionally or physically abuse me. I need someone that's going to love me, and I deserve that, and I should have that. And even if it takes time, I'm not going to rush into relationships. God will send me the person that I should be with, and it might not be when I want, but eventually He will come along, and I deserve to be treated good. Something that I was most proud of accomplishing at Turnabout was getting through the first 2 weeks at Roundy. The first 3 days was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I cried the whole time, but while I was in the circle, I learned so much about myself. I learned things that I didn't even think were about me. I didn't know myself at all. But I learned kind of who I was. I learned that I love my family. And I don't want to spend my life putting myself at risk every day. And just being at Roundy, I learned to work hard and earn things and it was really difficult, but in the end it was so rewarding. Coming to Turnabout, it's affected my whole life, and it's affected the decisions I make because I think before I act now. Before I came, I had no care about consequences. I didn't care. I did. And now, if I plan on doing something, I'm going to sit and talk about it and think about it before I just do it. Since leaving Turnabout, my relationship with my whole family is a pretty tight bond, and we all get along. And of course, we have our little arguments, but that's normal, and it's just something that we have to work through together. But overall, our relationships are better than they've ever been. So, when a lot of kids get to Turnabout, parents are going to think that their kids aren't ever going to forgive them, and they're going to think that their kids hate them. And I'm sure when my mom dropped me off, she thought that she was going to get some pretty nasty stuff in some letters. But it was completely opposite with me. It was more, I realized what I had, and I just wanted them to know that I loved them. And not everyone's going to be like that. Some of you will get hateful letters from your kids, but after they finish their program, when they go through it, they learn so much about family and about themselves, and they will forgive you, and they do love you, even if they act like they don't. If you have a child in Turnabout Ranch, don't worry about them. I mean, of course you're going to worry, but they're in great hands, and we're very taken care of. We eat good, and we work hard, and when they come home, everything's not going to be perfect, but you just have to work together and compromise, and everything will be okay. If someone called and asked why they should send their kid to Turnabout Ranch, I would tell them because it could possibly save their lives. Before I came, I was doing things that put myself at risk every day. But I came and I realized that I can't live my life like that, and I have to work for things and realize that I have a good family and people that care about me, and I shouldn't let them down. To a student that their parents are sending them to Turnabout, I would give them the advice of it's going to be hard, but it's so worth it. It's going to be something that you take with you the rest of your life. It changes your life completely. It changed my life completely, and I personally think that it is, I mean, I don't know about other programs, but this program is so amazing and so family oriented, and it will get you way more than what you've expected. And even when it's hard, just keep going, because in the end, it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. Before I came to Turnabout, my relationship with my mom was horrible. I had it in my mind that I couldn't stand her, and I just I would do anything to move out, to get away from my mom. But now that I've came, my relationship with my mom is closer than it's ever been. We talk about everything, and I don't have to hide anything from her. It's very open, and she helps me through my problems. And just being close with her makes life a lot easier. And it's great. Before I came, I thought that everything my mom did was because she was being mean, or she did not have my best interest in mind. But that was completely opposite. I realized that she did all of that because she cares so much, and because she wants the best for me. And since I've been back, we've worked on that a lot, and our relationship is good. I think my mom learned just as much as me. I learned a lot, and I think so did she, and more of how to deal with me and how to approach things. And since then, it's taken a lot of weight off of our shoulders both in our relationship. And I think that the program helps the parents just as much as the kids.
I was a basket of tears. We were all crying. And when she came through that door, she had a huge smile on her face. And she was asking us why we were crying. And she just kept saying, "Why are you crying? They take such good care of us here." And that made me feel so much better. Through the midterm visit, I could see changes pretty much immediately. We did have a little bit of our ups and downs, and I knew she wanted to go home, but at the end of the day, she told me, "I want to go home, but I know I need to be here." And that was very reassuring to me. Then when we had her graduation visit and she walked through the door, we were so excited that she was going to be coming home, even though it was scary. We kind of had our fears of, the unexpected. But when she came through the door, we were all smiling, and she was a basket of tears. And I asked her, I said, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "You should be happy you get to go home." And she looked at me and said, "I don't want to go home." So I knew they had taken really good care of her here at Turnabout. And I'm glad to have her home now. Before Turnabout, this girl right here, she didn't like me very much. Matter of fact, I didn't even get a hug before I left her. And that was pretty heart-wrenching for me. But
I like her now. When she was dropping me off, it was almost a relief because she was leaving me and I didn't have to deal with her. And that sounds horrible, but that's how it was at first. That's how bad our relationship was. And she wanted to hug me, and she was crying, and I was just resentful about the whole thing. I didn't understand why she was crying. I didn't want to hug her. I hugged my dad, but it was pretty bad.
And as a mom, it was really scary and hurtful. But I think one of the things that was most helpful for me was I actually got to go to the ranch and visit with a couple of girls that were there. And they actually gave me a hug because she didn't. And they reassured me that she did love me. So that was very helpful. And since then, I think things are a lot better. And she actually told me the other day that she likes me now, so. Since coming to Turnabout Ranch, I have learned so much about myself. I was a reactor before. She had her ways of pushing my buttons for sure. I had my triggers that I reacted to very quickly. Reading the book, Not by Chance, was such an eye-opener for me. I embraced that book. I read it multiple times before bringing her home. And I learned the ways to deal with her successfully. Now, if there's a trigger, I've learned to separate myself from the situation for a little bit, give her time to calm down, give me time to calm down. And when we come back together, then we're both thinking sensibly, and we're able to deal with those problems head on and not react and not fight, immediately. So I know I learned as much while she was here at Turnabout Ranch as she did. I took that time to try to learn everything that I could about myself, what I was doing wrong before she came, what I needed to change in myself. And it's been very eye-opening to me. And since she came home, we've had our little moments. Matter of fact, she let me know real quick that the honeymoon phase was not going to happen in our situation, which it did, but she just thought she was going to let me know that. But we both learned from the experience, and now we have a much better relationship, and she comes to me for everything. Her decisions that she makes, even if it's a decision that maybe I don't completely agree with, she has learned that she wants that trust, and she tells me exactly what she's going to do before she does it. She doesn't want to hide things from me. And I've made it a point to not say, okay, now when you do this and it doesn't work out, I'm going to tell you I told you so. I've learned now to ask her when things don't turn out the way that maybe she thought they would, that I asked her what she's learned from the experience. And a lot of times I actually hear that maybe you were right, Mom. And that feels really good to actually know that maybe you aren't doing the wrong things all the time. And giving in to their every little want or demand is not always the best choice. So just hang in there and, learn what you can while they're in there. Take that time that you're separated from them to learn what's going to make you a better parent, and just learn from it. The unknown, just being afraid of what her future was going to hold. And it was a very difficult decision to make. Financially, it was very expensive. And I was afraid of spending that amount of money on her and it being for nothing. When a parent is told that their child has cancer or some other devastating disease that could possibly take their kid's life, they're willing to cash in their lifelong savings, sell their homes, whatever it takes to get that kid the help they need to save that kid's life. In our situation, I felt that desperate, and I actually did sell a home to send Emily here. I don't regret it one single bit. It was the best decision that I've ever made. I'd do it over and over again. I wouldn't hesitate on the amount of money that it cost, because I know that it saved her life. When you have your child look you in the face after they've completed this program and they tell you that they don't know where their life would have been if they wouldn't have came here, came to Turnabout, you know that you've made the right decision. She had made it very clear before we decided to bring her here that she was going to be leaving home when she turned 17. She has since told me she didn't care if she lived on the streets. She was leaving. Now she will be turning 18 in about 3 weeks, and she has goals set for herself. I don't have the fear anymore of her making the choices that are going to be devastating to her life. Of course, she's a normal kid. She's going to still make some mistakes, but she's learned to learn from those mistakes and make good decisions and change the things that she needs to change in order to have a good life for herself. Don't hesitate because of price. I mean, save your kid's life, and if this is what it takes to do that, make that investment in them. Make that investment for your family. It not only saves your kid, it saves your relationships. I feel so fortunate that we made this decision. Now she wants to come back and intern here. She told me recently that she gained so much from her experience here that she hopes to come back and share that with other kids and other students here, so she can hopefully give back to them what she gained from this program. And I just can't thank Turnabout enough for what they've done for our family. I have my daughter back, and I'm just very thankful for that. And I'm thankful for teaching her how to make good decisions for herself. And just for the wonderful people here that invest their lives to save these kids. Because I don't know if I'd have my kid today. I could have lost her. Just like parents lose their kids to those devastating diseases, their mental health is just as important. And I just can't thank them enough for what they've done for our family and for my daughter.